Welcome, Leslie.
Thank you for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
I am excited to have you here too. So, I know a little bit of your backstory because we've gotten to know each other over the last few months. But there was this time in your life where you were at this major rock bottom before you started your way back up. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. Oh boy. So I was working for about 3 weeks in Toronto. And during that time, I don't know what hit me. I didn't feel like I had any direction in my life. I felt like I wasn't getting anything that I wanted out of my life. And I feel like I was just working to please everybody else except for myself. And I got home, and this was towards the end of September, beginning of October. And I still remember it so vividly. I had got home, pulled into my driveway, being gone for 3 weeks, and my husband my husband at the time had come up to see me, and he hugged me, and it just felt off. It felt different. It felt like there was nothing there. And after that, I realized that okay, something needs to happen because I realized in that moment that I had so much of my happiness invested in it was dependent on him and how he was treating me. And it was at that time I reached out to my friend Kim Freeze, who I had a free session with earlier in the year. And she does something called RTT, or rapid transformational therapy, which I know I talked to you, a little bit about. It's a combination of hypnotherapy and CBT, or cognitive behavioral therapy. And I reached out to her. I immediately got a package to start working with her. And I'm so glad I did, because it's funny how these things kind of work out. Within 2 weeks of me working with her, my husband at the time, 2 weeks after I started working with her, he said, I am no longer in love with you and I want a divorce.
Wow. That's divine timing to have that
It,
support and to have that come up at the same time.
yeah.
Wow. That's so at that point when you're working with how far along in that journey were you with Kim?
I mean, it was just 2 weeks. So we had like our first hypnotherapy session together. And the biggest focus that we were having at that time is being good enough. And hypnosis audio that I had received was around, I'm good enough. I like myself. I love myself. I mean, very basic, but something that's so profound that I feel like, especially as women, that we don't think about until we actually start working on it. Um, and I really believe, I really still to this day believe that if we hadn't started that work 2 weeks prior, if I would have gotten that news like I did from my ex, I mean, it really, really would have broken me, because I was already at a point when he told me that, like, yes, it broke me. Yes, it broke my heart. But I had already started doing that work. I had already started working on journaling, working on figuring out what I really wanted, and working with Kim to really understand that I already have everything within me to be happy, and all it takes is recognizing that I am worthy of that I can love myself, and that I don't need anybody else to be happy.
I mean, I think that's so amazing that it was 2 weeks into your journey with her,
Yeah.
and you got just that enough. That's the one thing, like, I keep wanting to focus on when I talk to my clients and talk to people. It's like sometimes it doesn't take years. Sometimes it's just getting that foundational piece of I am enough, or realizing you don't think you're enough to put that inner work in.
Hmm.
So after that 2 weeks,
Yes.
and that moment that he told you that he was no longer in love with you, well, where did you go from there?
Oh man. Well, I mean, as you know, I'm sure because you've been on this journey too, it's something that's consistent, and it's something that you have to continue to do and that you have to continue to work on. And so I continued my work with Kim. I continued to focus on exactly what I wanted and the direction that I wanted to go. And it was from there, at the beginning of our, at the beginning of all this, the beginning of the divorce process, the beginning of him telling me, I'm no longer in love with you and I want a divorce. There was a part of me, even though I was going through the start of this journey, that I was like, oh, no, 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 just you watch. This is a marriage. We're sticking together. No, I'm going to fix this, right? Because we're always like, we need to fix this. It was always like, what did I do wrong? I need to fix something, when really I didn't need to fix anything at all.
Yeah.
I had to recognize I didn't need to fix anything at all. And I slowly, and then it started rapidly, almost like a domino effect, recognized that as I was on this journey, that he had his own issues, and I mean, I don't need to get into that because that's him. But I recognized that we were slowly going into two different directions, that all it took was me recognizing my worth and how much that I need to love myself and focus on myself, to realize that I was working for his dreams. I was working for his happiness and not my own. And that's not something that's healthy. That's not a healthy relationship. And I say this to my boyfriend now, that I've told him, you don't need me to be happy. I don't need you to be happy, but we do enhance each other's lives, and make each other's lives so much better, but we don't need each other to be happy. My previous marriage, it was not like that. So yeah.
So to go from that super people pleasing, it kind of sounds like a little codependence. I don't
Yeah. Oh
understand.
yeah. Oh yeah. Well,
But
yeah,
you
so
break free of that.
how, I'm sorry, what?
You broke it, like there was this tie you had with that, and in that time you were able to break free from that, like with the journaling and the inner work and all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Was there like something that switched off fast? Did it feel like, okay, I can move forward? Or did this actually take some, like, a lot of internal time? Because I know that's something I've had struggles with, and
Yeah.
a lot of people have struggles with that have come into my space. And sometimes I wanted it to be fast. For me, it took way longer than 2 weeks. But
Well, the 2 weeks was just the initial, I think was just the initial thing. And I think that's something for important to anyone listening to this, that's something important to realize, that in 2 weeks, the 2 weeks that work was taking place, I think it only helped the situation that I had been, like, my life got so disrupted. And so I think what little work I did in 2 weeks helped that disruption not completely break me. However, this entire process, it was daily, consistent action, and it wasn't anything big. It started off as something as listening to hypnosis, and it started off as something as simple as reflecting in my day, reflecting throughout my day, which is actually something and a part of a methodology that I have for a membership that I know, once this launches, the sales are going to be starting for it. I have a membership that's launching for entrepreneurs, and part of the methodology is exactly what I developed during this time. And it's a simple reflection. I asked myself every single night, what went well in my day, what didn't go well, and what could I do better moving forward. I focused on what I did do well, because a lot of times I feel like I was in a negative state of mind, and I felt like, oh my gosh, I didn't get anything done today, or nothing went well today. And so focusing on that made me realize I did get, ish done today. And I did do some good stuff. What didn't go well, because it's important to know where you are, to know where you want to go. And then what can I do better moving forward? And that's setting up my action plan for the very next day. And I did that consistently every single day for months. And it was something so simple yet so profound, because it allowed me to see, when I was journaling, where, like, my pitfalls were, where some emotional triggers were, what things were going on in my day that were going to cause me to feel a certain way or not focus on myself. And so in doing that, I was able to become more disciplined, become more productive, to be more accountable to myself, and then in turn work towards the goals that I actually wanted, versus always working for somebody else's goals, like my partner's.
so what were one of those big dreams that you had when you were working forward? I mean, for me, I like to look for the light at the end of the tunnel. Like, What was it, something that you were missing that you really wanted in your life?
So there was, so I am a big business entrepreneur nerd. And there was a mastermind that I wanted to be a part of. And anytime I wanted to do anything that was any amount of money, I had found my ex was saying, where's the money going to come from? Or, oh, this seems like a lot of money. Do we really need to be spending the money on that? And during that time, because we were getting divorced, everything was split, right? And so there was a mastermind I wanted to be a part of. It was $2,000. At the time, I was very invested also in, and I still am, in like reading personal development books. So I was actually reading, it was a book by Jen Sincero, You're a Badass at Making Money. And I was like, I need to come up with this money. And uh, within 24 hours of me deciding that I wanted to come up with that money, I came up with the $2,000.
That's you manifested. I
But
love that.
you know what that comes from though? Like people always talk about like, oh, like manifesting, like it, when you're, I really feel like when you are in a headspace where you love yourself, you know your worth, you know what you're capable of, and then you have your mind fixated on a goal, you can come up with it quickly. You can get to that goal quickly. And so what I found during this time, like working towards that money or some of the other goals that I had written down is that I, at one point before a lot of other stuff happened, um, I had made a goal, another long-term goal that I had was to get out of, or to be able to get my ex out of the house. And I wanted to keep the house and pay for everything. And I was able to come up with a budget and basically make up my lost income that I wouldn't have from him. I was able to figure all of that out and make it up within about a month.
That's a superpower. I hope that's part of what you're sharing with your audience and in your masterminds and in your membership groups and stuff like that, because that's a true gift
Mhm.
to be able to
Thank
do
you.
that.
Thank you.
And I'm sure there was a lot of learning behind that. So, in being able to set your mind on that one goal, how did you work towards that? Because that's huge, losing half of your income and still coming up with like all your housing costs, and then being able to go to the seminar at the same time. Like, how did you work towards that big goal?
So, I mean, really, and when I teach within my community and the people that I work with one-on-one, it the action steps that you need to take, they're going to be different for everybody because everyone has different goals. At its core, I boil it down to those three questions that I asked myself every single night. Number one, and it was the what went well, what didn't go well, what can I do better moving forward? And then I also owe it to the three-step methodology process that I've developed for helping entrepreneurs perform better in their businesses. So there's phase one, which is what I call your discovery phase, which is it sounds like very sciencey and methodical, but really like it's not. I mean, it is, but it's not. It's collecting information. It's collecting data. It's really looking at, okay, it's journaling even. It's saying, okay, how am I spending my time throughout the day? Because a lot of us, I mean, let's be like, if I'm still like this, and I'm sure you've noticed it too. There's certain pockets of our days where we're spending time doing something that's not productive, right? And so you're nodding, yes.
TikTok.
Yeah, right. Oh, TikTok. Okay. So it's gathering that data, and then so it's looking at where am I not spending my time productively? When am I spending my time productively? When am I not? It's looking at what are my emotional triggers. If I am reflecting at the end of the day, and I'm like, hey, I had not as a productive day today. Is there a reason behind that? Did I allow someone to actually be in control of my own emotions instead of me being in control of my emotions? And so that's phase one. It's getting all that information. Phase two I have is testing different things that work. So the one issue that I have found with a lot of what I call performance coaches is they give you one set system. They tell you one certain way to do a certain thing, and not like we are not cookie cutter people. what works for what works for you, Jennifer, is not going to necessarily work for me. It might, but it might not. And so to put everyone in one box and say, this is one system, one methodology, this is exactly what's going to work for you, is bananas. So this testing and refining phase is saying, okay, do I do better? Sometimes it's even simple things. Do I do better writing things down, or do I do things better digitally? What can I do to be more disciplined? Is it giving myself some type of reward system? Is it being accountable to somebody? It's asking ourselves these questions and then committing to testing these things out to see what works and what doesn't work, also reflecting. And then the third phase is a solution phase, where you continue to see what works, you continue to do it, you continue to reflect on it, and then this process becomes cyclical, in the sense that you then go back to this discovery phase and you continue this process, you continue to refine, and you continue to be better. And that's exactly what I did.
That's amazing.
Thank
It's
you.
awesome that you're able to come up with like you said, a solution. It's not a cookie cutter solution, but it is a solution that can fit most people in it, because it's so fluid
Mm-hmm.
for your specific need.
Mm-hmm.
So moving forward, now that you've risen, as I like to say, I've risen from the ashes, because
Yeah.
sometimes we have to burn it all down to build it all back up. Like, now what are you doing?
Now what am I doing? Wow. Oh my gosh. My life is, I have like this quote right now, in that I feel like that I'm continually saying, and it's just, what is my life right now? Because I did all of this work. It's been for the past like 6 months or so now, this inner work to love myself, know my worth, know what I want, go after what I want, get disciplined, go to like move more towards my own goals and what I want. And my life is just feels so crazy right now. I literally feel like I am dreaming with my eyes open. I'm launching my paid community. I have a free Facebook community for entrepreneurs called the Pineapple Party Pad that is growing. I am doing things that I love. I'm living in Florida, closer to my family, which I absolutely love. As of this recording, I am leaving in about 8 days to go to Europe to spend 28 days with my boyfriend, and he paid for my flights. Like, what? What is my life? I just got invited to speak at a retreat that's happening later on this year. I'm speaking with you. Hello. Um, like it's so crazy. Like it was like, I'm so thankful and proud of myself that I made this decision to move forward and actually do something about my life. And I think I really had to hit that point, like we were talking about. I know we kind of discussed this. Like it was almost like, I don't think that everybody has to have some type of like pivotal low point moment necessarily to make a change. But for me, I'm so thankful that I made the decision to move forward when I did hit that low point, because looking back, it changed everything. I can't even imagine where I would be today had I not done that work, had I not reached out to Kim, had I not been disciplined enough to go through hypnotherapy, to develop, the methodology that I did and then follow it. Like day to day, is there stressful stuff that happens? Yes. Is there still stuff with my divorce and my ex that I'm dealing with? Yes. That, like we've talked privately about that. But it's like, when I actually look at this, and I do have a gratitude practice too, which is, I think, is also helps. I look at this and I'm like, my life is just, it's made up of things that I had dreamed of, and now they're becoming a reality, and it's so cool.
And it's all because you decided to put yourself first.
Yeah. I really believe, and I've said this to people that I've coached and people within my community, that the biggest lesson that I have learned in life, and that I've learned in the past 6 months, is that being selfish is one of the most selfless things that you can do. If you are somebody that loves people, if you are somebody that loves to serve other people, understand that being selfish is one of the best things that you can do to serve other people.
Oh, I'm 100% on board. When you love yourself, I mean, no relationship can actually work in a healthy manner unless you have a relationship with yourself.
Amen. Yes.
So I also want to bring up, you mentioned your new membership, which at the time this is airing, it is live and open for people to join. And it has this methodology in it that we were just talking about. Can you tell us a little bit more about that community?
Yes. So it is called the PAD, or the PAD. PAD standing for productivity, accountability, and discipline. It is for entrepreneurs, mainly for entrepreneurs who are making under $10,000 a month, and really it's for people. And I have found with people that I've worked with, we all know exactly especially these individuals who would be the best fit for this group and for this community, that you know exactly what you need to be doing in your business, but you just feel stuck and you keep getting after yourself and you feel like you're just like hitting a wall continually, not knowing not knowing how to move forward. You already know how to do your branding, you already know how to do marketing, you already know how to be active on social media, but for whatever reason, there's a reason why you're getting stuck. And so you think that you need a performance coach, and you do. However, what a lot of these performance coaches, like I discussed, don't address are the emotional issues that come with owning a business and being an entrepreneur and moving forward. And so with my methodology, through that data collection, the reflection and testing and refining and finding solutions, we move through a lot of the emotions and a lot of the mindset blocks that happen when you try to improve your performance as an entrepreneur.
And that all comes back to loving yourself.
Yeah, it does. Really,
Doing
really
what feels good.
Yeah, doing what feels good and giving yourself grace. That is a huge, huge, like I feel like we far too often we put such huge expectations on ourselves, and we are not kind to ourselves. Definitely not as kind as we could be.
That's for sure. I know that's something I do. I beat myself up over everything.
I'm guilty of that too. It's a work in progress, right?
That's the human experience, like, is what I like to call it. If it was all perfect, it would be boring.
Oh yeah.
So if you could leave everyone with one giant nugget, like the one thing, if they don't take anything else away from this interview, what would be the one thing you'd want people to remember?
Ooh, I already said it. Be selfish. If you're listening to this and you are somebody who is saying, I can't possibly treat myself. I can't possibly, get myself that gift. I can't possibly take a vacation or take some time to myself away from my kids. I highly challenge that and see how much more capable able to serve yourself, your family, others that you love, simply by being selfish, because being selfish is one of the most selfless things that you can do.
I love that. And it's all about love. So that's
Mhm.
totally up my realm of things. Well, I want to thank you so much for taking your time today and sharing your story. Because I know that sometimes sharing your story isn't always fun, but I appreciate that so much. And I'm really excited about your new membership community. And you definitely need to get into her free community, because I'm in there and every week I put in my little, this is what I'm doing this week. And if you don't do it, she's going to remind you.
Yep, I like to think that I'm a butt kicker, but like I'm a gentle butt
Yeah,
kicker. I'm very nice about it.
it is very nice. I've had some people and been in some groups that it's a little harsh and you're like, ooh, I kind of feel a little bad, but it's very supportive and I'm enjoying being in there, and it's a great space. It's helping me grow and be accountable for my own stuff. So thank you for that too.
Thank you, and thank you for having me here.
You're welcome. So get out there and feed your body with love.